Boom! What's up, fellas? We're talking about the Orville. Last night's episode was great. We have a lot to say, a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about the future. You know what I'm talking about, Shane?
I have no idea what you're talking about, Brian.
Let's get into it!
Mixies presents the Popcast.
Hey, my name is Brian, that is Shane, and this is the Popcast, and today we're talking about the Orville, Season 1, Episode 4. First, I want to start off with, hello Reddit, how are you?
Reddit as a person, or Reddit the people who watch our show from Reddit?
r/the Orville.
Yes.
We love you all. We know you'll see this. Okay, number one, let's talk about our 800 sub challenge. We just did our 400 sub challenge. We're on the way to 800 sub challenge. When we get to 800 sub, the big, beautiful, bodacious milestone giveaway, it's going to be something huge. So once we get there, boom, giveaways happen, and there's a whole format. You can check out our other videos to really understand how it works. It's a fun time. Now let's get into Orville. You know, I don't want to waste too much time because last night's episode to me was really, really fun.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it was fun because it felt like Trek. Some of the jokes fell flat for me, but the actual show itself, the whole fascinating ship, everything was just so familiar. So that's the word I'm gonna use. It was very familiar. What about you,
Yes,
Shane?
I got to tell you, it had all of the flavor of a Star Trek original series episode. It was very message in a bottle type of episode. It did leave a little bit. We got a little bit of the Bortus with his partner at the beginning where they're having that spat. But the one thing I wanted to focus on, and the reason I mentioned that is it actually takes us back from the last episode, and you see they're still having issues and troubles. But the thing I want to mention is we actually had a commenter say that they felt like this was more like MASH. And if you go back to the MASH series from the late 70s, early 80s on TV, it was a very serious show, but it was also a lot of comedy in it. And they actually had a laugh track, and it was almost, people could almost go back and look at that and go, wow, so weird to have such a serious, they're in the middle of a war, but yet there's a laugh track and there's comedy happening because people need to relieve the stress of the seriousness. And I feel like that's kind of where the Orville's going. The only problem is, and it's not a problem because I don't want a laugh track, but that laugh track helped you in MASH, whereas here, the jokes are kind of falling flat. Because
they're a little jarring.
They're jarring and they feel a little out of place, and you don't really know. I mean, you know it's a joke, but you need, that's why laugh tracks were created, to help the people understand when they're supposed to laugh. So I don't know. I feel like it's kind of going that direction.
Seth, if you're watching, do not add a laugh track. Oh my God! For the love of all that is holy,
it would be terrible.
Don't add a laugh track.
It would be terrible. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it needs a laugh track. What I'm trying to say is, I feel like it's in this quasi weird space where, like the male part jokes. I don't actually want to say it here, just because kids are listening. Maybe, hopefully, I don't know. But they're using totally. I feel like I'm having that awkward moment like he was having in the elevator in the episode.
So that was sort of funny because like
that was great.
When it was supposed to be awkward, she was like, "Oh, you're still awkward." You're like, "Yeah, that's how it feels right now." Okay, that's your awkward humor works for Seth MacFarlane.
It does. He does. He's good at that. The in your face masturbation jokes, the in your face, penis jokes. Although it was a little funny having the robot kind of not understanding it, and I like that he said, "Oh, it's a compliment." I believe I'm being
complimented. Yeah.
Right. So that was okay.
That was sort of like it was also like a weird, like, this is the way a race would, there was a little sci-fi element to that joke too. They somehow did a penis joke while being sci-fi, so that was sort of cool. Wasn't necessary, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just weird because you got this great story happening, and we're coming to this new place. Exactly what you want. You want exploration. We want to see things that we haven't necessarily seen before, but maybe we have felt it before. The encapsulated world inside of a ship where people don't know that they're on a ship is not a new idea.
No.
But it's a cool thing. It's always cool to visit this.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a really serious moment. I mean, Lieutenant Alara got shot. I mean, like really shot blood. I mean, I'm like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
we're going here. I didn't realize we were going there.
Oh, and they beat the ever living crap out of Lieutenant Kelly.
Yeah, although I do like I liked a couple of her jokes in there. It just seemed like, wow, you know.
Oh, some of the jokes did work. I gotta say, my favorite joke was when Captain Ed walks up to the guard and he's like, "Hey,
No.
college, right?" And the guy's like, "Get away from me." And he's like,
Yeah.
"No, hey, don't be like that, buddy." And then he goes to hit him. He shoots him real quickly. He hugs him. He goes, "Oh, it's okay, bro." And he's coming him in. That felt natural to me.
That is exactly how Captain Kirk would have done it present day, I'm guessing. Yeah, he would have come up. I could see him and McCoy and Spock kind of coming to Spock with his hat on, covering up the tops of his Vulcan ears so nobody can tell he's a Vulcan. You know, they were actually in makeup, so they were trying to blend in with the locals. And it felt so original episode to me, the way that went down. And Kirk would have karate chopped him and fell into Spock's arms. Probably.
I agree. Well, let's get into the recap. How about that? And we'll
let's
find
go.
more stuff. Okay. Well, number one, we open up with this great shot of Clyden and Bortus. And
These guys kill me.
Clyden's character is hilarious, dude. I gotta say.
Yeah, I'm
Like
digging it, man.
This
I like
big
what
burly
happened.
man. He's like, "I need to talk about my feelings." And Bortus is like, "Oh, I don't want to deal with this right now, man. Come on." And then he's like, "But we need to speak about it." And Bortus is like,
Yeah.
"I am very busy. I am leaving."
You knew what you got into. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
And then when he was like, "I need depression food," he's like, "Rocky Road," and I'm gonna get something I can watch. And that moment between when Bortus looks at him watching the super feminine TV show, the guy looks back like,
Yeah, no, I needed this because that whole joke up to that point wasn't really working for me. Like the whole depression food. And I mean, I got it, and I liked how he was, but he didn't even realize he maybe was depressed, but he was trying to feel that out. And then he's watching the old black and white TV show movie.
musical, right?
Musical. It wasn't until this scene where Bortus is like, look at, and they don't even speak.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was done perfectly.
It was
I needed
really
that
great.
to tie up that episode.
Yeah.
To tie up that moment.
And if you're married, like Shay and I, there's that moment where you walk by and your wife's watching like the view, and you're like,
And you're like, God, I'm gonna pay for this later.
"Yeah, this is gonna be rough."
Right.
Yeah. So we hope this the next coming up next is business as usual. They're charting star maps. The interaction, I know it was a joke there. It felt a little more natural. Felt a little more fluid.
I liked how Lieutenant Gordon kind of said the obvious, like, this is boring. They weren't doing. They're charting. I always thought that, there's, billions of stars out there. They're charting them. It must be a big pain in the butt. And he actually voiced it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, they never voiced it on Star Trek. They're charting billions of stars.
Nothing was hard on Star Trek. Everything was like, I'm doing my job, yay.
This
was
love
kind of
being
cool.
here. It's fantastic.
I love staring at this screen all day and doing engineering stuff.
I remember thinking, like, between adventures, the months that go by where they're just doing tedious science, it's gotta be hard, just like mapping number after number after number after number. Realistically, that's what it would be like. And this guy voiced it, so that was cool to see. Their interaction was a little cool. And coming up on that big ship, I love that scale where they show
nice perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, they show the Orville.
Where they zoom back.
Yeah, they zoomed out. That's right. And the Orville is this tiny little dot. And by the way, my daughter Ellie is watching it now, and she was watching last night. And she's a little 5-year-old, and she's like, "Whoa, that's a big one." And my heart melted because I remember that moment that I remember Dad telling me that the one moment he can get me to stop moving around when I was a little kid that young was when he put Star Trek, the original series, on.
Nice.
So when my daughter Ellie was having that same moment where she was actually sitting still, I was like, "Oh, there we go. Okay." Orville's feeling more and more familiar. You know,
Right.
Especially compared to recent events. So this ship was gigantic.
That was funny. It's like the STD comment right there, the Star Trek Discovery undertone comment.
I'm trying not to even say STD.
I know, right? You're not going to bring it up, but we keep it real here, folks.
It's so polarizing. Everybody's like, "Oh, you didn't like it because you're trying to kill the Star Trek franchise." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" First
of all, at this moment, the Orville is more entertaining, but I haven't given up on STD. I can't keep saying STD.
We haven't given up on the STD that is STD. Okay.
I can't. Yeah.
Look, here's the deal, guys. We haven't given up. First of all, no one person, no anybody, no large group of people can kill Star Trek. Star Trek is
it's
timeless.
Unkill. It's too big to fail.
It's immortal. Yeah. But I gotta say, liking Star Trek because you want them to keep making Star Trek is akin to an abusive partner in a relationship trying to change their partner that's beating the crap out of them. Okay? It's the same thing. You
pretty
can't,
heavy there, brother.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. It's like you're enabling a studio. I mean, obviously not the same thing. They're not the studio's not showing up at your house and beating the living crap out of you.
I just want to act. Please stop hitting me.
No, but if you're making excuses, oh yeah, but this, but that, I'm sure it'll be fine. But what you're trying to do is the problem, instead of voicing those problems so they can fix them, you're making excuses for them, so those problems are never going to go away. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse until you one day realize that you're in a studio customer abusive relationship and you got to seek help.
Right. And I would argue that if something isn't broken, I'm not sure that you need to fix it.
Truth be told, Shane.
Yeah, and so that's kind of the problem. And I know we're talking about the Orville here, but it all ties in because the Orville exists because of what's happening in the Star Trek world right now.
Yeah, very true.
So it's okay to talk about it.
All right, I'm sorry, back to the recap. Okay.
Let's go back to the recap.
Now, this episode featured a little more of Isaac, which I like. I gotta be honest, I'm not 100% on Isaac's costume. I like his head, but I wish they put him in a regular uniform, whatever the name of their Starfleet is. Uniform.
It's a robot, and that's where I'm struggling. I wish they had gone. I hate to say android, but being a robot is tough. He had a cool moment there where you got to see some of his robot skills towards the end.
Yeah, with the things coming out of the wrist,
lifting the gate. So that was cool. But yeah, I think there's something a little. It's obvious there's a human underneath that suit.
Right.
But at the same time, it's supposed to be a robot, so they'll need to work on that, I think, as we go forward.
I think I think what they need to do is instead of trying to mimic a robot, which it seems like the actor is sort of trying to mimic a robot, he should just be a human under the suit.
Okay.
So it's more of like an android feel. Because when you try to mimic a robot, it calls attention to the fact that it's definitely not a robot.
Right.
So then we get another scene with Norm Macdonald, which I know you love this character, Shane.
I don't need this.
I think your picture of Norm's blob guy is on your phone as your profile pic.
Let me tell you, Seth, I know you love Norm Macdonald. We all love Norm Macdonald.
Everybody loves Norm Macdonald.
But here's the problem. Norm Macdonald is the past. And SNL Norm Macdonald is gone, guys. So, give him a cameo here and there, but we don't have to have him every episode, please.
Yeah,
I don't need to see this blob.
That's what I felt too. When I saw this, I was like, look, I don't mind. I mean, I even appreciate every once in a while the Norm Macdonald blob cameo.
Sure.
But I do not want to make this a weekly thing.
Right. And it's just weird and creepy that it's hitting on the doctor, and the doctor keeps putting it off.
Dude, the toothpaste comment after you figured it out, after you thought about it for a minute, was pretty funny.
I mean, it's better than him having his Jimmy shaped and formed on TV for us to view.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was not too bad. It's just it felt unnecessary. I mean, I get it. We're keeping it a little crude, but
yeah,
it's cool.
Whatever. Okay, so they decide to jump in the shuttle and go over to this big giant ship. Okay, By the way, you know it's early when I'm still rubbing my eyes, right?
Thanks.
Oh, by the way, we're doing this really early because of Shane. It has to leave, and so it's like ridiculously early for us. Okay, on.
Yeah, wish me luck. I'm heading to New Mexico today.
Mexico! He's getting more stuff for the next boxing. Get ready for it, boys and girls.
Yeah, which is why I won't be here on Monday, and Brian hopefully will have a special guest.
I'm praying I have a special guest. You know, worst case scenario, if you don't see the show on Monday, it's on Tuesday. That's because I had to push it to Tuesday to get a special guest. Okay, so we had that same joke again where he's like, "Can you open this jar of pickles for me?" And now, instead of a joke, I feel like this is what he says when he can't open something.
And what I love is that it was real this time. She didn't knock the door down. She just moved a lever that was hard. It was too difficult for anybody else to do. It was totally realistic, and I appreciated that they did it this way.
It felt very natural. It didn't even feel like a joke. It just felt like that's what he would say, which makes the last time, when the time he said it as a joke, even better.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so they get in there, and this is when it gets real, guys. This spaceship is so huge that it has its own ecosystem, its own sun, and the sky has these. You know, I love how the sky had those like very machine-like qualities, but it was still a sky. I loved the inside of this the spaceship. This is probably the best version of this they have ever done on any single sci-fi show that had done this premise.
Yeah, I love it because usually you would just go in and it would be like perfectly, but you could see in the sky that it was obviously artificial.
Right.
And yet the people who live there wouldn't know what artificial was, wouldn't know any different, so they couldn't tell it was artificial, but you could tell it was artificial.
Right. Even
though it looked so good. So yeah, I love that as well.
And the mountain ridgeline surrounding the entire place. Yeah, it just really, whoever put this together really thought it out, and that was nice to see, because usually they don't have the budget or whatever the deal is, or maybe it's so long ago that the graphics aren't good enough that they really just have to do like outside. They can't even like show you that the artificial parts of the map per se.
Right, and obviously that's digital. You know, they shot this. I didn't find out where the location was where they shot this, but obviously they were able to, you know, digitally recreate the sky, and this is actually a location on Earth. So obviously.
Right, well, of course. Now this guy appears to have a 1940s shotgun. That was
yeah.
I love the makeup. They're really sort of being true to like sci-fi, where it's like sometimes it's crazy makeup like Norm Macdonald, and sometimes it's just spots. You know?
Yeah, sometimes, you know, they're humanoid and they're just a little different.
Yeah. He did straight up have a shotgun, though. I mean, like, if you zoom in, you might actually find, like, a Winchester logo on there.
I was a little confused. I mean, at the reaction that they got when his wife first opens the door, it was almost immediately freaked out. I mean, I guess that you had to go there, but I was, like, a little bit like, God, would somebody really react that way to, you know, seeing strangers?
Well, let me ask you a question, Shane. If a giant insectoid alien knocked on your front door and was like, how would you react to that?
Well, that's true, but that's not what happened. You know, it was Captain Ed Mercer knocked on the door, and yeah, there was some weirdness behind it. But
he's wearing colors. He got this crazy chick behind him with like ears, and you got she wasn't there. I'm sorry. You have the giant robot head there with the glowing eyes.
The robot was back there. I mean, I guess maybe it would be a little bit weird. She did kind of.
And apparently, a black person. They don't have any black people on that ship, and there's a straight up person there that's black, right? I ain't seen a single. Maybe
there was only 3 of them. No, there was just the robot. It was
the doctor, the robot, and Ed.
Doctor, the robot. Yeah. So I guess that's true. But the husband just came out with a gun shooting. I mean, he didn't even.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I want to think that like
if
a realistic alien knocked on my front door,
you wouldn't just shoot him.
I wouldn't just shoot him, but I might run away.
Well, they needed to move along. Yeah, that's true. They needed to move along because the next scene you see is they stun the captain, or they stun the husband, and they go in, and the wife's like, get out of here. Who are you? This is blasphemy. You learn a little bit. But then they introduce us to her son, and I immediately was like, wait a second, they didn't need to do this because we could have learned everything we needed to from the mom. But then they actually use the sun to take us into town and take us there. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I see
Now
why
it
they
makes
did
more
that.
sense.
That transfer, because at first I'm like, they're wasting time by giving us 2 people to go, oh, they don't realize they're on a ship,
Right.
you know.
And I
that
love
moment.
that though. Like, we knew they were on a ship, but I didn't even consider the idea that they didn't know they were on a ship. That actually changed the story a little bit for me.
That's where I was a little confused, is that it was Seth and his crew they didn't realize they were on a ship until you got to the boy, which I figured they would have figured it out as soon as they talked to the mom.
Well, we're the audience. We know ships are like fantastic. These guys, they live in the future where ships is common. It's like having a car, you know.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that it worked. There's a little bit of falling flat with the jokes in this scene, but it still worked. It was definitely passable.
Yeah.
And then
it was still good.
We start getting hardcore because when
ooh, yeah.
Lieutenant Alara. I keep trying to say Mass Effect names. I'm sorry. When Alara and Lieutenant Kelly are walking along, they get accosted by a couple armed guards, seemingly in some kind of armored Humvee or something.
Okay, yeah, well, that threw me off a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like they should have had a different you know what, they couldn't use horses, you know. They had to use a vehicle of some sort, but maybe a different vehicle. Maybe something a little more outlandish, you know. I'm not sure.
And I always wondered, like, what happens when they get to the edge? You know, when they can't go, the edge of the ship and they can't go any further. You know, on a car, you're going to get there relatively fast, I guess.
Well, it was surrounded by a mountain range, right?
That's true.
And they thought the world was created by somebody. Like they probably, that was their world, you know.
They accepted that was the edge. Yeah.
Right. So they shoot Alara like really quick. But before that, we get back to the ship and they get a distress call, and they're like, "Well, we gotta go. Let's drop a communications buoy and bounce out," which tells the audience, you don't have any help, so you're on your own.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really important. You know, they shoot Alara, they beat up Kelly, and now, you know, there's a little more dire circumstance because they don't have any backup from the crew. Yeah, so I thought that was good. I like when you take them away from their comfort zone like that. Now,
yeah, that's you. I'm glad you pointed that out, because that is a very Star Trek thing to do.
Yes.
You isolate them, put them on their own, so the fear and the danger is real.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, and I like that about this. So now Captain Ed, the Doctor, and Isaac, they're meeting with some people that have, I guess, been considering this theory for a long time.
Right.
And now it's being proven to them. And the older guy is like, I don't know what to tell you. You know, your own parents reacted poorly. We can't just, you know, bring these people to the town square. They'll just get killed.
Right. And
speaking of, when we go to the town square with Kelly, we meet the villain, and I love this guy. I hope you have the IMDb there. What's this guy's name, dude?
They're killing that guy right there.
Yeah, they're killing
not that guy, but they're killing.
Right, they're killing some random guy that just decided to question their world. Right.
Right.
And that shows you the stakes. They don't want to hear anything that's not what they believe, which is really important.
Yeah, which makes sense.
And I like this actor a lot. He was in a lot of stuff, but I was introduced to him in a show called Prison Break.
Oh, I never saw that show. That was very popular, though, back in the early 2000s.
Well, this was the guy that made it popular. I mean, the other characters are good, too, but he was so good. He was so bad, and then he was a little bit good, and then he was bad, and he just has this great way of, like, playing you have no idea what I'm thinking right now. I'm evil, but I could be good if it serves a purpose, you know?
Right. What they did actually with this one, he ended up they showed flashes of the fact that he actually was, you know, not evil, I guess, towards the end. when he saw the sky, he's like, "Oh, okay, I can
not
believe
as
this."
evil, right? Yeah.
Or yeah.
I mean, he did kill a person, and he was torturing someone, so pretty evil. But
I mean, no, yeah. I mean, in heart, but you could tell that maybe he could become good, or he could change. I guess was the whole point of that.
So, after that scene when I took Kelly in, we're introduced to the first piece of medical technology we've seen on this show, and I like it. They have the one device that pulls the bullets out, and another device that speeds up. And I like how she says, speeds up, this platelet or whatever, specific regeneration that is normal to biological beings.
Right.
Even in the original Star Trek, they would wave a device and just expect the audience to realize that's what's happening. They didn't really explain it until later in late TNG and even Voyager really explain that what the technology was doing, because they probably didn't even know.
True. So, yeah, no, it's true. Also, we there was another piece of tech we got before this, was actually, I'm guessing, was like a tricorder. It was like a thing where it popped up and it was like a white box, and it happened earlier in the episode, kind of when they came aboard the ship.
And then it happens again later on, right?
Yeah, so that was cool, and I noticed that specifically popped out.
Well, when we get to that moment, I'm going to tell you, I have an idea. I have a great idea.
Okay.
So, yeah, we see Laura, they resuscitate her, and she's looking rough. I mean, they shot her.
Yeah, that was a really good job of giving us some realism.
Yes. And then we get to see the spaceship battle. How'd you think about this, Shane? How good was this thing?
That was great. Yeah, really great. Nice. Yeah. They came in, they saved the day. Kind of realistic. They couldn't take too much more damage, so it wasn't over the top. And then, of course, the good suggestion by the helmsman to take him out, a little bit of risk, and it showed Bortus trusts his crew.
Dude,
which was cool.
I gotta be honest. I wish we would have seen more interaction between the two helmsmen there, where they're like maybe, talking back and forth as they're going into battle. I wish we'd have seen that. Like, give me 3 to get, and a little more of that would have felt more like, okay, now these guys don't only have a friendly relationship where they click, but they work together on the bridge too. I was expecting that. I didn't get that, but overall that scene was really great. This 2 minutes of space battle. It was better than like the 20 minutes we got in STT.
Well, okay.
It's easier to see,
Oh yeah, there was a lot going on in the other one. It was that the other one was a lot more epic. I think this one was more reminiscent of the Star Trek we like.
Yeah, and then that great line, boom, bleep. I can't say the word. So.
Very realistic. When you succeed, when you're on top, that's kind of how you're gonna probably react.
Yeah, I love that Bortus is like, Lieutenant. And he's like, oh,
yeah,
snaps.
Bring us back to reality. That's what Bortus is for. I love it.
Yeah, Bortus is a straight man. No,
he is.
I mean, yeah, technically, yeah. Okay, we get back to Kelly, and he's married to Clyden.
No, I got the joke. Right. It was funny, but it took me a second to realize you did that.
I mean, like literally, literary. He's like the guy who's always plays it straight. Okay,
I'm with you.
Okay, we're all on the same page.
Oh, hey there, Captain Obvious. Woohoo!
All right, okay, so let's get back to it. So, Kelly is getting.
Hey, real quick, the actor that you were looking for, his name is he's known for Prison Break. He was also in Hitman, Transporter 3, and he was in the Hunger Games, The Mockingbird.
Ah.
And his name is, I just had him. Un momento, senor. Robert Nepper.
Robert Nepper.
I'm
going to remember that next time. I like Robert Nepper.
Yeah, and he played, the character's name was actually Hamlet. And there was that joke where, what does he say? He's like, nice name. Not really.
Nice name. Not really.
Yeah, so it's like his way of like, getting mad at somebody or something.
Well, you know what's funny about that is like that was his joke when like Kelly was actually ripping great jokes while they're beating her up. She was like, she was giving it to him, man. And while every time they smacked her, she gave it back verbally. It was hilarious. Like, where are your friends? Doing your mom.
and the other one's cheering him on or something like that. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Dude, the Central Perk joke though, the Friends joke, like
that was great. The Friends joke was great.
They're at a place.
Where's your friends?
It's in Central
Park.
Park.
Coffee shop.
Yeah, it's called Central Perk. Just don't hurt the monkey.
Just don't hurt the monkey. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what I love? There was a scene where he's like, "Listen, I'm gonna put this drug in you. It's gonna make you tell the truth." And she rips a joke, and he's like, "Get it out of your system."
Yeah.
In that moment, you're like, "This guy is not playing around."
Yeah, he's not backing down either. He's gonna take this all the way.
Yeah. So Seth, Liara, yeah, damn it,
Lieutenant Laura.
Lieutenant Liara.
Moving on, the security officer.
And the security officer, the doctor, and the farm boy are now dressed up, and they have the makeup of the people that live there. And I love that classic, the Spock. I'm saying Spock, but that's what it was like. The bandana to hide the ears and the forehead and all that. Great, man. That really.
Yeah, the farm boy. The farm boy's character's name is Tomlin, which you probably missed, and the actor's name is Max Burkholder. Just FYI.
Yeah, I mean he was, to be honest, sort of forgettable, but he played the role.
He was a device that was necessary to move the story along, so that was cool.
Right. And then we get that moment where he's walking up the security guard, and hey, it's me
buddy.
from lacrosse. The guy's like, get out of here. I love how the guy didn't be like, oh hey, how you doing? Because that would have been like weird. Imagine the guy's like, oh yeah, I remember we played lacrosse in college. No.
Right.
That was great because, I love that moment too when he stuns him, hugs him, and brings him into the building, and he had the couple of like, oh, he always just a joker or whatever. I forgot what he said exactly, but it was really great.
Right. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And this is the moment where he's like, get all out of your system. It's gonna get rough.
Yeah, she took it like a champ, and they didn't pull back. I mean, they actually had her bruised up and bloodied, and
Adrian Palicki is good at taking a beating.
Yeah,
she is. The other show she was on, Agents of Shield. She was always getting beat up, man.
Yeah, she's like, no, I've done this before. Bring it.
Yeah,
anybody got a metal pipe?
Hit me harder. Yeah. That moment where it's like, I've been through a divorce. This is nothing.
There was a lot of the divorce stuff this episode, which kind of bothered me. I mean, every joke had to be about kind of that, and I guess that's kind of the central core of where they're going, but I didn't know if I needed to be brought back to it. And even on the bridge, they were talking about it. And then the security officer, Lieutenant Alara, was even asking, what's his deficiency? There was just kind of some weird, it was the undertone of, they're really dragging that out. I'm actually ready to move on now. I mean,
they're reminding you.
Yeah, give me a little salt and pepper of it every once in a while, but you ain't got to say it 3 or 4 times an episode.
That's true, but we also do like in-depth recap reviews, so we remember a lot more. Like
we specifically do.
Yeah, so like we remember a little more than like average viewers. So
true.
So yeah, she's looking pretty beat up. Boom! They come save the day. Leora rips the doors.
Leora. Well, let's just start making up names. Karen opens up the doors and starts shooting people, and then Debbie lifts the guy up in the air. It's Lieutenant Alara, dude. Say security officer.
Alara. Alara.
Your child's name is Lana. It's really close.
That's the problem. Alara rips the doors off the hinges.
There you go.
And they come in all guns blazing. That's
the time when I love that she just went ape shit. She went ape crazy on these people. I love that moment where she's like, I'm angry now because you're messing with my girl.
Yeah.
And she like lifts him up in the air. See, totally believable. Definitely not OP. I loved all that.
I did too. And they that wasn't really OP. They knocked everybody out. And they try to have a conversation with this guy, and they even show him in this tricorder. They show him /phone or whatever a picture, and
/phone or whatever.
And he's like, I don't know what that is, whatever.
I like that they showed his doubt. That just shows what a great actor he is.
Yeah.
The bad guy is, because he actually, you could see his little bit of self-doubt on his face. I mean, that's tough to play that like that. He did a great job of being, I'm sticking to my conviction, but maybe I do have some doubt. That was really good.
Yeah, this actor is legitimately good at acting. So this phone, I expect if this movie gets a second season, I'm going to predict it right now, guys. If this movie gets a second, if this show gets, it's early, okay? If the show gets a second season,
it will.
Yeah, which I expect it will. I also expect them to start selling these tricorders with the pull-up screens. Like
I'm pretty sure I had that phone back in 2002. I'm almost positive.
Yeah, I know. So
my first flip phone.
Selling a $30 version of that at a convention is going to be pretty cakewalk, right?
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. I want to buy one. I'm ready for it.
So again, it's early, so I keep making mistakes. I'm sorry.
It's funny. It's hilarious. Keep coming.
So I love that tricorder.
My name's Shane, by the way, just in case you forget.
Shut up.
Sorry.
I'm glad they didn't hold up like a smartphone. Like, you see this? You know, and someone, you know, I'm glad that they changed it up. Even if it looks a little more retro to us, that's okay. You know, that device has got to do more than just make a phone call. You know, so.
I love the flip phone idea. Always a flip phone. Love it.
Yes, always. You know, I actually, while I like the idea of the tricorder up here on your chest in TNG, I remember when I was younger, I'm like, that's cool, but I'm gonna miss the tricorder.
Yeah. You want the, you know,
I'm gonna miss the communicator, and putting the communicator and the tricorder in one makes way more sense than making a lapel thing. You know, even though this became you know pretty standard for Trekkies.
Right.
Okay, so they bounce out and they find a door, and I don't have a screenshot of this. I'm sorry, guys, but Isaac does the hand thing, right?
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, where they showed his talent, his skill. He's obviously smart. They trust him, but even more, he can do like R2D2 type stuff and open up doors.
Can I say something? I really am happy that he's taking Alara and Isaac on these away missions because, dude, it makes sense. These guys have toolkits that are overpowered, right?
Right.
You know, I don't need to see Grimes out in the field, and that's specifically about fixing engines or something, right?
Yeah, I always thought it was weird that you'd have, you know, Lieutenant Sulu down there on the planet and Chekhov, and you're like, who's driving the ship? But,
who's the helmsman? I like how it makes more sense from a realistic standpoint, as realistic you can get for something like this, that he's taking, you know, the OP robot and the OP humanoid, right? I like that.
And now this is one thing that's a little different from Star Trek. The first officer and the captain was not supposed to go down.
Yeah, that's a no-no, right?
Well, in the original series, it wasn't though. Spock and Captain Kirk were always down there together. So they went away from that in later, derivations of Star Trek. And so it's interesting they brought it back here, and you've got somebody as competent as Bortus that you know is on the bridge, that you know can do the job. So I was always wondering on other Star Treks, I'm like, gosh, who's on the bridge? And do we really trust that they're going to take care of the ship?
Right.
And now you feel like Bortus has it.
You're totally right. Yeah, TOS had that feeling like when they left the ship, they just put that thing on autopilot and went down to the planet or something.
Right.
You know, I'm pretty sure that was a budgetary thing for TOS, right? It was like we can't have like 15 core actors here, right? So
yeah, Scotty was usually on the bridge in the original series, and that felt okay. But it was definitely, you're always kind of like, he's the engineer. What's he doing up there? You know, so.
I wouldn't mind if they started leaving Kelly behind, but I feel like if they did, you know, Bortus might lose something to do. And they're trying to build a relationship between Kelly and Ed, so it feels more natural.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
I love the doctors going on away missions. That's fantastic.
As it should be.
As it should be, yeah. That awkward comment, though, before we get to the surprise. That was great.
I love that. I love
2,000 light years from Earth. Yeah, you're still awkward.
Everybody is so deadpan in the, you know, and they didn't like look at him and get all weird. They did exactly what everybody does in an elevator. Don't look at anybody else. You never make eye contact with somebody in an elevator. You're kind of hoping the longer the ride is, the worse it. I mean, it is. This was a very realistic feeling when you're in a cramped elevator that you're just like, you know, at least in America, it definitely feels this way.
Yeah, you know why? Because a lot of people don't like closed spaces, and the more people you get in an elevator, the closest it gets. And other people don't like to be close to people, and all these
Yeah.
things. The second you cram people in an elevator, there's all these weird phobias that you didn't even realize you have that start bubbling up to the surface. You're like, oh my god, I don't want to.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, we could totally relate. Now in Japan, totally different thing. They actually do not mind being pressed against each other. I was extraordinarily uncomfortable over there anywhere I went in public transportation.
Yeah, you're a big guy too, right?
Yeah, and it was just very, very odd to be that close to people, from my Western perspective.
Yeah. Well,
So
fun fact.
So this works for us.
Fun fact: there are actually people whose only job is to push other people into subway cars.
I've seen those videos. That's funny. Crazy.
There's a job out there in Japan where they push people in. They get as much space as possible. That's their entire job. All right.
What a job to just push people around.
I would love to see how that works out, like on paper. Like, look, if we get one more person in every hour, it's paying for this guy plus 2 other people, or something,
Right.
All right. So now we get to the big surprise. Liam Neeson's in this episode.
Give me more Liam Neeson cameos, right? That was such a great moment. The screen pops up.
It was
Great,
great, man.
Is that Liam Neeson?
It's Liam Neeson.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Dude, when his voice started coming through the speaker, I'm like, oh my god, no, it's not. No, it's not.
It's butter, man. It's like butter.
And it's like butter. It's like, I have particular set of skills. And then boom, Liam Neeson shows up. It was so great, man. That was like the button for me. The second he showed up, it wasn't even a big part, but it felt so good, man. It was like, yes, he feels like that actor portrays the old guy that was in charge of the ship 1,000 years ago that just wants to get his people home.
Yes, he's so perfect, and I love that Seth knows everybody in Hollywood.
Literally everybody.
He's able to get, everybody's like, oh, come on, let's get Liam Neeson to play this bit role at the end of the film.
Right.
Fantastic.
Imagine that. Imagine you're in the writer's room and you're like, okay, so we need someone with a lot of gravitas to play this the maker of this ship at the very end of this at the very end here. Like, well, oh dude, what if we got Liam Neeson, right? Ha ha ha, that's a joke, right? And Seth's like, oh yeah, we could do that. 1 second.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it would have been cool, if they'd gotten like Patrick Stewart to play it,
bro,
to do something like that. It would have been like earth shattering.
I bet
he has a lot of gravitas.
I bet they're gonna save Patrick Stewart for like an admiral. I don't even know if Patrick Stewart can legally do it. I don't even know.
I don't even know if we necessarily want him to, But I mean, it would have been. Just thinking of this moment, who else could have done it? It would have been Patrick Stewart.
Look, guys, the longer this show goes, the more guaranteed we'll get a Patrick Stewart cameo. Guaranteed.
You think so?
At some point. Oh yes, bro. Let's say we get to 5 seasons and it's 6 years from now, and they've done Dina Troy and they've done Geordie LaForge and they've had all these people on, and everyone was like it was a big show for them. They marketed the crap about it, and then like the season 5 premiere, you open that trailer up and the first thing you see is Captain Jean-Luc Picard, but obviously not Captain Jean-Luc Picard. And he turns around and goes, "Nice to see you, Captain Ed. The internet is going to explode."
Yeah, no, that would be amazing. But I don't think that would happen, to be honest with you.
I'm praying.
I mean, he doesn't really. Patrick Stewart doesn't really do that. So
no, you're right.
He's 77 years old right now. So here's the deal.
Might not get to 5 seasons.
If he might not get to 5 seasons, I mean, I hope he does. I hope he lives forever, but which is not going to happen. But but once you hit 80 and you're an actor, things start to change. So
yeah. Also,
it would have to happen soon.
Fox doesn't have a whole lot of approval per se from CBS to do this show. So
yeah.
There's going to be some roadblocks. The more popular this gets, the more roadblocks they're going to receive. So we'll see how it works out. Next up, they open those the big roof or whatever it is. The dome. And that shot was so great, man.
It was good.
We've never, we've seen this version, this very similar story in a lot of sci-fi, but I've never actually seen the dome open like that. And like where the mountain line is and the ridge and the whole map per se, very cool the way it opened like that. And then it shows Robert, the actor, I forgot his name, Hamlin, thank you. And it shows his face, and he's like, "Wow, damn it, those guys were right. That was real." And,
and he changes. You can tell he's like, "Okay, I can deal. I will deal with this.
We can deal with this, right?" Yeah, and it just felt. And there's the shot. Oh God, that is so freaking cool, man. Oh, look, guys, I'm a super sci-fi fan. Okay, I have read all the Star Trek. I've read Larry Niven. I've read C. Clarke. I've read everything. Okay, listen. Seeing this kind of stuff actually portrayed in front of you with a big budget is really something special to someone like me who has seen this who has read this so many times. I've seen it in my mind, but I've never actually been able to see it visually. And that shot where it's opening up and you see the mountain ridges forming the edge and God, that was so flippin' cool to me, dude.
So yeah, I mean, I thought it was fantastic, and it's nice to be able to get a good payoff visually, whereas in a lot of the Star Trek, you didn't always get this because of the budget costs,
right? Yeah.
And now in the day of when we can do almost anything on a computer, it makes it a lot easier to be able to bring this together.
Yeah, that makes me almost wish for those some of those petitions to go through. Like, there's big petitions out there like update TNG. They want people to take TNG and make it high def letterbox and update all the graphics and release a big platinum thing. And
I'm not a fan of that.
While every time I see it, I don't want it to happen. When I see stuff like this, I'm like, but if done right, how good can that be?
We've answered that question, and George Lucas did it for Star Wars back in 1997. And now we can't see the original version of what he did.
That's very true.
You know what? So don't mess with it. Just leave it like it is. We can dream what it might have been.
That's true. We don't want anybody going down that rabbit hole. Okay.
Yeah, we've destroyed all the original episodes of TNG, so you're forced now to watch the remastered version.
Oh, the film is gone. You have to watch this version. It's just
which includes a really awkward singing scene inside of Jabba the Hutt's lair just after.
Yeah. Now, that was so. What's weird to me is there's a multi-billion-dollar company out there that somehow couldn't keep the original files.
No, they got the original files. He just doesn't want anybody to watch them.
Yeah, I know. I realize that, but that's why it's so absurd to say that, though. To use that excuse is absurd because multi-billions of dollars and somebody didn't say there's no extra copies of the original files.
Well, it's
you and I are a multi-$100 corporation and we keep multiple backups.
Multi-$100. The film that it was originally shot on, when you remaster, when you update it, you make a copy of that film before you. I mean, trust me, unless he destroyed it because he's like, I'm George Lucas, I do what I want to do.
I'm George Lucas, I do what I want. He has a giant a trash fire. He's just throwing all the original film in there. It's like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Nobody? That's right. Thought. That's right. Thought. Now get the CGI on there and get out there.
Right.
It's a giant dumpster fire. All right, guys. And that's where we end. We end with this great shot of the Orville. The sleek, sexy curves. I love the way the Orville looks. I love the music in Orville. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's great.
The only thing that doesn't work for me in the Orville, coincidentally, is some of the jokes.
That's it. Yeah.
I know it's supposed to be a Seth MacFarlane parody-ish dramedy. I almost want them to not do so many jokes and just be a sci-fi show.
I would say at least remove the super crude jokes. Remove the scrubs in space. I'm going to go there again. We don't really need it to be that crude. Keep the jokes, keep the satire, but just space it out and give us salt and pepper. Give us a taste of it.
Yeah, and a little bit of 21st century pop culture goes a long way, guys.
Yeah, I agree.
We don't want to use too much of the 21st century pop culture. Because then it feels too much like a spoof or parody and less of its original thing. A little bit though is genius, but if you use too much, it stops being genius.
Yeah, we don't want it to be a spoof.
Okay, guys, that's it for us. Don't forget, 800 subs. Once we get there, big, giant, beautiful, bodacious milestone giveaway happens.
Yeah, our last giveaway was basically $350 value T-shirt of the month thing for 12
T-shirt of the month
months.
club. Yep.
The next thing will be different, and it will be unexpected.
Yeah, and we're doing the boxing video for our 10-pack video beatdown challenge is actually appearing not tomorrow, but the day afterwards on Sunday. So check that out. You'll see what I forgot who it was, the winner got, and come back. So subscribe, like, comment, share. Please comment below if you disagree, if you agree, if you want to have a conversation. We respond to every negative comment, no matter what. So if you leave a comment where it's like, I disagree with you, we can have a conversation. We like to interact with you guys. So don't feel like you don't need to do that.
Yeah, and absolutely. And just note that it's really important that you comment, subscribe, and comment, because every 24 videos now, we're going to do a special boxing video like we did for the last one. So we're down, I think we're down like only need 20 more videos now. We've already got 4. So make sure you get your comments in so you can that's your entry into the contest, is to comment and interact.
Subscribe and comment, and you get automatically entered into our crazy Lord of the Flies Hunger Games style, beat down via bracket and dice rolls.
And you can look inside. If you do the click down, every episode I'm pretty much counting down. This is 22. This is 21. This is 20 videos.
Perfect. Thank you, Shane. I always forget the details like that, guys. Shane is awesome. Guys, that's
You're
it.
awesome.
Subscribe, comment, like, share. I've already explained why. I don't need to explain more. You know you're going to do it. Just do it. Just click the button, okay? We'll see you guys on Sunday for the boxing video.
See you guys Sunday.